Hey y'all, welcome back to Spirit of the Outdoors. I had a request after my last camping video to do my fire kit or what I'm using to start fires. There's a lot of videos on some of this. I don't know that all of it's put together in one video. I'm sure it probably is by some of the guys that do a lot of bushcrafting and camping. But this is more of like a modern day, I would say, fire kit. I tote a big lighter with me every day. No, I do not smoke, but I constantly start fires, so I do have a lighter that I keep in my pocket that is wrapped with some, this is not duct tape or Gorilla Tape, it's an off-brand, but it's still good tape. I keep a pocket knife in that pocket that's a trapper, a 2-blade. I always keep, this is my skinning blade more or less, and meat cutting, I keep it sharp. The more blunt blade, I'm normally apt to skin wires, whatever I'm doing throughout the day. But now this has become my go-to pocket knife. That's the blade that I pull out quick, flip open to cut stuff. I have to sharpen it pretty regular because I use it a lot. But it's a buck, it's a pretty good knife. But that's basically what's in my pocket on a day-to-day basis. I don't tote a wallet, I don't carry my money, because I don't go anywhere. But the thing that people wanted to see after I did that video was what I was using to strike my ferro rod. Now, flint, steel, all that old-timey stuff's good to know all that. Primitive firecraft, you need to know all that. But the truth of the matter is we're modern day. What should I be toting realistically if I'm not just playing old school stuff or practicing? I mean, what do I really need that I can guarantee? And you see me struggle with building a fire in those wet conditions, and I pulled out this cotton ball swabbed in Vaseline. We're gonna make that here in just a second, show you just how simple that is. And then I had this little wafer that I put under there that was my extender. It burned long enough to get those wet twigs burning. We're gonna make that with some wax. It's very simple. So in true bushcraft fashion, we're gonna use this little camp stove. Now I got my fish cooker over here, but to save from having to move the camera around 2 or 3 times, we're gonna try to make this video as simple as possible. This is a AOT, I wrote it AOTU camp stove. It is very cheap. I have seen a lot of you big school guys bash this, talk about, oh, this is cheap, don't use that China-made stuff. Y'all, I have been using this little camp stove for a while. The truth. Okay, this little camp stove, AOTU is the name of it. I've seen a lot of guys knocking this stove, saying, hey, this ain't a good stove, buy the name brand, more expensive. This was like $12. And the other ones don't have the striker. Lights itself. So if for some reason my lighter's gotten wet, I mean, I've got a ferro rod. So in this kit, this ferro rod stays in there. Now this is just backup. This is a brick that you get from the Home Depot or Walmart or wherever. It's just a fire log. You cut a piece of it off. It's very saturated. I don't even know what brand it is, but I just cut me a piece off of that fire brick and use it. I've got a ferro rod. So in here, this is cotton balls swabbed in petroleum jelly, or Vaseline I call it. And these are the little wafers that I had with me that day. They're just these face pads in wax. So what I've got is a tuna can right here, and I've got an old candle. I do have some beeswax, but that candle's done burned down till it's not really any good. So I'm just gonna melt the thing on here. Now I'm gonna turn this down really, really low, because I don't want to smoke that all up like I just did. This is just a scrap piece of metal. This is just to lay these wafers on. But this is ultimately what I'm doing, is I'm just going to restock my kit today and show you how I do this. Okay, we're going to start, since that is melted, I'm going to cut that off because you'll burn your wax up. You can probably do that over a candle. This is very easy. Lay that right there to dry. And this takes like 2 seconds to do. It's just cotton and wax. Oh, I tell you what I am gonna do. Where that is leaking out, I'm gonna not waste that. I'm gonna get that up. I'm gonna lay that on top of one and let it soak into it. Okay. Now I probably had that a little too hot, used up a little bit of wax, but that is essentially how easy that is. Let me do one more. There's a little bit more wax in there. Now them cotton balls soak up a good bit of wax. Not the balls, I need these. But guys, this is easy and it's cheap. I mean, they sell stuff. A lot of these guys, they don't want you to know how to do this kind of stuff because they want you to buy this off of their website. We're gonna have to come up with a little more wax. Now, I'll tell you something else, a trick that I would do, and we could probably have done this if I'd have thought about it a little bit beforehand. You can melt down some pine resin, mix it in with your wax. So, since I run out of wax, I want to make a couple more of these. Hang on just a second. What I've got here is some beeswax pellets that I bought. I'm just gonna pour a few in here. And that pan's probably hot enough for them to still melt. But this little stove gets very hot. It's burning right there. While we're letting that heat up, the cotton ball deal. It's just as easy. You take this, and I'll use the pliers just to keep from getting it all over my fingers. But you just swabbing that around in that Vaseline. You can melt the Vaseline to where it soaks in good. But now once you've got it all in there, you can pull this apart and kind of work it around and get that with your fingers, get it all in there good. And don't ask me why this works so well. I'm not a scientist. But I do know that this works very well. In wet conditions, this is what I take. Because I can make it. I don't have to get on Amazon and order something and wait, you know, hope it makes it in time that I'm planning on going to the woods. I mean, it's just too easy to have another option. Yes, there's store-bought products out there that are very good. I will never stand here and tell you, oh, them products ain't no good, don't buy that. They're good products, but they're not necessary. A lot of them are not. Now, a little know-how, and one of my deals is I enjoy making things. It's fun to me to get out here and know that, hey, everything that I know how to make all this myself. So with a little jar of Vaseline for $1 or $2 from a dollar store, that's a off-brand, works just as well. It don't have to be a certain name. So that's that. And then I keep everything in this Ziploc bag, but it don't have to be waterproof. I can dip this in water and it'll burn. They'll float in water, they'll burn. So, now we're gonna cut that off. And this beeswax works just as well, if not better. You can let that dry a little bit right there, drip, before you lay it out here. But it's just wax. I just wanted to show you that a regular candle wax, because a lot of people have that. When your wife's candle burns down to a little nub, she's gonna throw it away. Don't let her do that. And another thing, I have found candles at dirt cheap, dollar stores on sale, yard sales. In fact, not long ago I love yard sales. I bought a whole grocery bag full of them at a yard sale for like $1 or $2. And it was a whole bunch of mix match candles, which we use them when the power goes out here. So this is basically my little fire kit, and I keep it in a Ziploc bag, but this, every bit of this is waterproof, and that's what I like about it. Now, by myself, not filming, not trying to put on theatrics in the wood, I'm building a fire with a lighter. The problem I have with Bic lighters, they're trustworthy, good lighters. They work. But you can never tell how much fluid is in a Bic lighter. I'm almost tempted to go back to the old clear cheap lighters, because especially once you wrap this with tape, you can't hold it up to the light and look. That is the only downfall I have with Bic lighters. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to make another one or two of these while this is, I cut that off and now that's done stuck to it. It goes out pretty quick. But it'll heat back up real quick too. Some of these is probably already. I just wanted to use what wax just that quick. It's melted again. This little thing gets hot quick now. And that will turn to char cloth if you're not careful making it. That's another thing with these, but now once they're waxed, you're not going to make char cloth out of it. You can with these if you want to beforehand, but I don't use a lot of flint and steel. I do have the means of doing it. I'm just not a big fan of flint and steel. Right now I'm about to burn up fooling with it. Let's put a little bit more wax. These wax pellets melt down. We're not going to make very many more, but I do, while I'm making them, I need to fill my little bag up with them. And we're going to strike one of these. I'm going to go ahead and make one more of these and show you, we'll demonstrate, just in case somebody haven't seen the other videos, the camping videos, and seen me using this, because that was a scenario where this saved my bacon. Yes, I probably could have scrounged around and kept digging and really working, but the truth of the matter is, if you're setting yourself up with bare minimum stuff, and then you've got to spend an extra amount of time getting the fire going, you need to know how to make the fire without this stuff. But there's no reason to go into the woods without this, because it don't make sense. You need to be able to, okay, this is not happening readily available to me. You know, I'm not able to make fire in the rain like I want to. Go ahead and get a fire going because I need to cook. I need to get that. You have a lot of camp chores that need doing. You need to procure food. You've probably got fish to skin, game to skin, edibles that you need. Maybe like I was, and I didn't catch a fish that trip. This one may not burn as good. We'll test it here in a minute and see. But a little tuna can, you can melt your wax in and not waste get wax all in one of your good pots. Now this I keep a lighter in, and this is just a backup kit that I keep separate. And I keep it in a Ziploc bag because the lighter is in it. And it has tape wrapped around it, so my fire kit is not necessarily primitive. Now, if I'm going to tote my musket and really try to dress authentic and do all the authentic things, then I'll probably take flint steel and char cloth, and I have a kit with all that in there. It's got a few splinters of fat wood. But reality, here where I live in my area, fat wood is abundant. You trip over fat wood here. So there's no reason for me to carry fat wood in any kit I go in, because fat wood is all over my yard. It's in all of the woodlands down here. and all the swamp. Now, when it's more hardwoods, I may have to look a little more, but it's in walking distance, I promise you, down here in this area. So fatwood's not a problem. It's always there. I can find large chunks of it, and I realize in other parts of the United States that's not the case. So you know, you may need to carry fatwood in your kit, and fatwood is an awesome resource. The only other thing, like I was mentioning earlier, I would do is when I melt my wax, if you went and harvested some pine resin from a pine tree, and if I'd have thought ahead, we could have done this, and melted it into these fire extinguishers, then you might could just strike this and it light itself. But now you lay these out, you kind of flip them around, and they get stiff. Some of these are still a little bit limber, but these are some of the ones that we just made. This one ain't really got a lot of, and I need something to, let me find something to burn that on. Let me just burn it in here. All right. In here, and I probably don't have a knife in my pocket that will strike. The back of that is not a true 90, but I bet this will. All right, we want to see how long this burns. Let me find my timer. We're going to throw one of these in there. Wax come off of it. Oh. Alright, we're a few seconds behind, but it'll give you an idea. So with one cotton ball and one of these pads, we're going to see how long that burns. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these back in this little Ziploc bag here. I've got 3 in it. And they get, once they're solid, they get fairly solid. So you can keep them separate. They're not really sticking together anymore. So I may need to set that over on that metal. Keep it from getting hot and burning my table up. But this is my preferred method for taking fire into the woods. A lighter is king for me usually. It's the easiest go-to. Click it. Whatever you can find to burn, that's true woodscraft. But if I fall out of the canoe like I did in one of my fishing videos, or if I have to wade the creek, if I have to go get game, maybe that's... And this is one of the things with me, if I shoot a deer and he crosses the creek and gets on the other side, I'm going to get him. I'm not going to wound and injure an animal and then say, well, he got away, I can't get him. I'm going to get him. So if I have to wade and get back, well, immediately getting back on my side of the creek and getting dry, the smart thing is to keep and lay your fire out and know you're getting back to it. But what if you get over there and then can't get back to it, or get over there and wind up no telling where? You're probably going to want to take your fire with you. So in my hunting, this is what would be in my bag to take hunting, because you can get all of this wet, and I've got it in waterproof bags obviously, but it don't have to be, in other words. So with all of that, whatever I'm going to the woods with, and this seems like a lot, but all that goes. And it can be rolled up, squished down pretty good, and a lot of times I'll minimalize it. I'll take a smaller kit. You know, there's a lot of that right there, but you can make this as compact. You can put 1 or 2 in something and just a few cotton swabs in here together, and it be that small, and that be what you take with you, because that lighter would be replaced with a ferro rod. Most of the time I have a ferro rod on my knife that I'm carrying. So all of this is, you have to adjust to what you're going to be doing. So, but we're at 3 minutes and this is burning well, so it's going to burn a little while. I may cut the camera off, pick you back up whenever it's starting to burn out. We're going to put this up. Now right now we're at 5 minutes and 14 seconds. is starting to burn down. But now this wafer that I put, and that's what I call it, it's a face pad, cleansing pad. It had less wax on it than the other ones that I built, but I put it in here, and this can had some wax residue in it. So we burning down to it's just about to go out, but it's still flame right now. We're at 5 minutes and 39 seconds. So with 5 minutes of burn time, you can always add another one in there if your fire's not catching up. That's why I've got a pretty good stack of them in that kit, and when I take a few out, it's good to replace that. But I'm gonna put this stuff. This is a pair of pants legs out of some pants that I destroyed. And I just keep some essentials that I throw. It's got my water purification, my Joy Pure, some iodine liquid in there that I use. You could put tablets, whatever you prefer. But this is my basic survival kit, I would say, and it's got some ridge lines, some cordage in there. This is what I drop into my hunting bag if I'm going hunting. It's not waterproof. It would be preferable if this is a waterproof bag, but the key is all of this fire in here and everything in this, if I dunk it and it's all soaking wet, every bit of it is still usable. The cordage is still usable. The fire kit is still usable. All of that stuff can be submerged. That just went out. We're at 6:47. So I'm going to say 6:30 to be safe because I missed it by a few seconds. So you're getting over 6 minutes of burn time out of one cotton ball and one face pad with Vaseline on one and the wax on the other. So this would be what I would call my fire kit. Modern day fire kit, waterproof, bomb proof, ferro rod, Vaseline on a cotton ball, and wax on a cotton face pad. Those are cotton face pads. And just in case you hadn't got a good look, those are cotton rounds. This is the Off Cheap brand. I think I give less than $1 for that. And these are cotton balls. Now if you have pure cotton, I'm sure you can use an array of other materials that are cotton that will work for this. This I know works. This is what I'm using. But very simple to make, very easy to make. This is what I would carry. This is what I would recommend anybody carry. You don't have to store buy a whole bunch of stuff from whoever's school that they selling products from. But anyway, they and this little stove, man, I really like that little stove. It's compact. It's got its own lighter to it. Screws on. The only thing I don't like is having to take this can of fuel. So I'm probably going to either get me a Trangia alcohol stove that I could put in one of them little twig stoves to where you can burn the twigs or the fuel and whichever. And it's multi-purpose. With the jug of acetone, you can do more. So we may gear a video toward that if I get a design I really like and proves to be. I've built a couple that I really just wasn't happy with, and so I haven't really done a video on them too much. But again, this is very simple fire method. Thank y'all for watching my videos. We'll see y'all next time on Spirit of the Outdoors. Remember, the best way to do things is the way you like to do it. Y'all have a good one. We'll see y'all next time.